Oh. How's everybody doing? I've been having a day. Here, I got the old camera configured up. It's not the best. I still look like I'm this, but yeah. Yeah, you look tan. Yeah. Maybe I can take some of the contrast out. Hold on. Let's go here like that so we can contrast up the, nope. Brightness just a little bit. Good enough. Fine. It's not fine. It's so annoying, dude. So Windows decided to restart my computers last night. You know, you gotta have this update. Gotta have it. And whatever it did, it fried my USB 3.0 on the streaming computer. On the streaming computer, it fried it. I have no connectivity through any 3.0 thing. 3.0 port on that motherboard, and some of the USB ports don't work. So that's the USB 2.0. You know. What was that thread you shared earlier about the one from Phil Metzger? I mean, how mad do you want to be today, dude? Like, we got mad yesterday, and I kind of feel like an idiot for getting so pissed off about this, but I'm pretty sure that was about to die anyway. No, it would have been just fine if Windows decided it wasn't going to be fine, but it's okay. Yeah, it looks a little dark. No. I know. I might be able to turn the brightness a little ways up. Here. Just... There we go. Dude, it takes forever to get lighting right. That's not an easy thing to do. The logo. Is the logo the right color? Are this logo the right color? Yeah, it's here. Let's try that. Oh, let's not. Good. Hey, yeah. Oh, yeah. Whatever. Yeah, I got a USB 3.0 card. Yeah, we'll just use that, and my streaming computer will just keep soldiering on. It's been soldiering on for 14 years. Pretty good, man. Pretty good. I don't think I'm running 7. I think I updated everything. I don't. So my schedule is completely screwed up. Yeah, exactly, Tessa. Yep. My computer's almost old enough to vote. And it's not quite Shipathesius yet either. I've only replaced the graphics card on that computer over time. Only replaced the graphics card. And actually, I think we maybe did the power supply. No, I didn't do the power supply. Or did I? Yeah, it's only graphics cards that I've used on that computer. The USB motherboard hub is breaking. The hardware is actually starting to break. You could probably take the motherboard out and just resolder everything. Probably be fine. Power supply was on the new PC. Yeah, all I've ever All I've ever changed on that, on my original streaming computer, is just the graphics card. It's soldiered along, taking pain for a long time. Pain. Okay. Yeah, it has a solid state drive, but the spinny boys are still in it, Tessa. They're still in it. They're just backup drives. Well, not backups, they're secondary drives. All right, let me get reconfigured here. Ernock, we would need fuel injection to make that work. You want to put the Terminator kit on Bluefus? I mean, yeah, you'd need a new intake manifold. You'd have to get port injection. So we'd have to find a 460 manifold that has port injection and swap the entire fuel system out to a high pressure fuel injection system if you wanted to do that. That would, I mean, could. The 97 is much more kitted for it. But we could. It's possible. Wouldn't necessarily be against it. I mean, I guess. Storm. Nice, dude. Do you think you might ever update your KSP mod list again? There have been many dope visual mods that have been coming out. Yeah, you, RB, and Van weren't totally talking about this in your Discord last night. You know how I know? Because I got messages from all three of you now about this. I don't know what you want, man. Intake pump, lines to rails, throttle body, etc. Edelbach probably has a torque of 2 EFI manifold for it. Yeah. We want your game to look pretty. Yep, yep. For a change, it wasn't me badgering you about mods. The reality of the situation is you're not the only one that does it, you dingle ball. Dingle ball.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Yeah. Now I don't look as alien. That's close enough. It's gonna bother me for the entire show. Camera fixed? No. This camera is like, I don't know. I think I bought the C910 before I bought my streaming computer. I had it on a different computer, which I still have. It's actually sitting in the garage. Are you gonna watch Twisters? I don't know. Guys, I am all like, my brain is scrambled right now trying to fix this. I don't know what do you want to do today? I said I'd play KSP, and I said I would show you the launching the MLV. Twisters doesn't look bad. I'm not sure how I feel about the new Gladiator. Workers or KSP? Did you fix the joystick? I did actually fix that. Yeah. Can you see my last I need help? I need a cup of coffee. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Dude, I'm all screwed up. I am completely, like, off my game here and just blew the sound out completely. I apologize, dude. This is Bush League, man. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, this whole thing threw a huge curveball, and now my head's all screwed up. I'll be right back. Let me get some coffee. Okay. I'm back with coffee. That's not RimWorld. That's the 126ers. Windows rolled down. It's royalty-free music from YouTube, guys. All right. Yeah. I had plans for this stream. Those plans got immediately tossed out the window. I have to stop the stream at like 6:30, 7 o'clock because Primo's dad is flying in and I have to go get him. So yeah, this stream's already pretty much a wash, dude. And then the camera screwed up and that, yeah. Yeah. hate it when this happens. How about if we check out the new station or something? I don't want to. And play workers or something. Some corn for you to enjoy. I've seen these pictures. Somebody already linked them to me today. Vickers, I can't say that I hated. What happened to my plans? My plans got thrown out the window today. I had plans for what I wanted to do. I wanted to play Kerbal. I wanted to start on I wanted to start messing with Dart. See if we can redo it, but yeah, my plans are totally out the window, guys. So maybe we'll just do whatever. Maybe I'll just play workers or something, but I feel bad because I promised people I would play Kerbal at noontime and show how to flip the rocket around and land it. And I don't want to just do that once and then switch to workers. But I mean, I don't know. I'm all screwed up today. Just, it happens. You get curveballs in life, and that's what happens. Happens to me. Even with the camera working now. This is actually the old camera, Jackery. I have it dialed in as best as I can for trying to fix it in 10 minutes. Could always finish Archie and Fred. Oh. Hey, Bradley. Yeah, nice picture. I don't know why we can't play Kerbal for 4 hours. I don't know, because I don't want to. I have a shuttle question. Is this the inside of the payload bay lined with Nomex? Yes, I have some of it actually. It's I have it in a box over there. I'd have to go find it. Yeah, it's Nomex. It's like a different version, a different type of it though, you know. Sorry, I'm just moving the other camera out of the way. You good, my man? Oh no, Blackness, I'm completely, like, my brain is just scrambled today. Yeah. Just one of those things. Did that viewer from yesterday play Kerbal for more than 15 minutes? Don't know, haven't seen him back yet. Car stuff. I went to work on the Camaro today and I tightened one bolt and then I was just like, I got like nasty brain fog today, dudes. Like nasty brain fog. It's pretty bad. Like, I don't know what the hell that's about, but here. All right, let's try to shift back into gear, okay? COVID? I don't think so. Counter-Strike, you won't. Take a day off and relax. You look terrible today. I'm taking the next 3 days off, Ollie, so it's the camera that's making me look like trash. Either that or I look awful as well. No, it's not from COVID. I was,
Discovery, go at throttle up.
I was playing around with Titan the other day, and this is my fault. It's not the dog's fault. I snuck up behind him, and he turned around really fast and headbutted me, like, pretty freaking hard. Like, so that brain fog might be due to a concussion. Yeah. Yeah. So that probably, I'm not, like, it still hurts. Like, it hurts. This, touching it like that hurts. It's definitely swollen a little bit. You can't really tell on camera, though, so. I don't know. How's Titan? Titan's fine. It wasn't the dog's fault. I snuck up on him, and I scared him. He turned around really quick, and actually, I don't even think I scared him. I think he thinks I was still playing. So, like, he turned around really quick, and the side of his head just went right across the bridge of my nose. Like, yeah, I was on the ground. Better time to play CS than with a concussion. So, in fairness, he probably gave a concussion to Titan too. Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Yeah, it's okay. But this was like before yesterday, and I think that I gave a pretty comprehensive analysis on how much canceling Viper is a complete screw up by NASA. If you want to see more about it, and just in case we were on the money with NASA making idiotic decisions, here, check this out. There's a thread by Phil Metzger. He is the director of the Stephen Hawking Center for Microgravity Research and Education at UCF. He previously is the co-founder of NASA KSC Swampworth, Space Mining and Space Settlement. Phil Metzger worked on the shuttle program. He was a tile guy, thermal protection guy on the shuttle program before that. This guy, I learned a lot from him. So listen to this. He gave a little bit of a background. This is regarding Viper. First of all, he said canceling Viper was a bad mistake. NASA cancels the Viper mission. This was the premier mission to measure lateral and vertical variations of lunar ice in the soil. Would have been revolutionary. So a little bit of a background here. Just listen to this. If you think I overreacted yesterday. I mean, personally, I did lose my cool. I was very pissed off. This is really stupid. So, but listen, like, it's not just me. This guy is arguably way smarter than me, and listen to what he has to say. Yeah, that's possible, Rem. A little background. The earlier version of this mission was called the Resource Prospector Mission. When Jim Bridenstine was appointed NASA administrator, NASA canceled it without his permission just hours before he was sworn in. I can't confirm this, but rumors say he was livid. Mr. Bridenstine was appointed by the previous president, and the previous presidential transition team had people assigned to plan space policy. They were calling people for input. I got one such call, and the person told me they not only weren't going to cancel the Resource Prospector, but instead, they were thinking about having many Resource Prospector missions. We talked about what would be the scientific, engineering, and economic value of building multiple copies of the mission. There was strong interest in the lunar ice to support building a sustainable program. Lunar ice and sustainable space exploration were major interests for Jim Bridenstine. When he was a congressman from Oklahoma, he had a blog where he talked about NASA supporting the development of cislunar water economy and how it was crucial for NASA's future. I don't recall the exact timeline now, so I don't recall when I got that call from the transition team, compared to when Mr. Bridenstine was sworn in, but from what I heard, Jim was pissed. He was super pissed they canceled it without waiting just a few hours for him to take office. Surely you wouldn't have approved its cancellation. You have to believe that the person in NASA who made this decision, whoever it was, surely knew they were playing dirty hardball politics, canceling a program the incoming administration loved just hours before he could stop them. But we were all promised, don't worry, all the instruments that NASA built for the Resource Prospector mission will be put on future missions to the moon. Then later, the Viper mission was approved with the same Resource Prospector drill and instruments. Yes, it was alive. Meanwhile, the lunar community held many studies and workshops on the lunar ice. Everybody agrees that a serious prospecting campaign is crucial, and Viper is the best start. There's also geopolitical concern about nations competing over lunar resources. We believe it is crucial for nations that support the international rules-based order to be leading in lunar exploration to influence and help establish fair and just policy. So it is vital for democratic nations to operate missions like Viper as quickly as possible. Another couple years delay could be disproportionately harmful to the world's future in space. Lunar ice prospecting will also produce some of the most important science in any branch of science, bar none. Why? We don't know the story of about how ice got onto the moon. But we think it might be related to a disruption of the solar system that occurred some 3.8 billion years ago. The giant planets were slowed by gravitational friction from the Kuiper Belt until Jupiter and Saturn got into resonance. This kicked Saturn outward, which kicked Neptune, possibly switching places with Uranus, so Neptune plunged into the Kuiper Belt, scattering small icy bodies. Most scattered out, given the modern Kuiper Belt, its weird structural features, but a small fraction scattered in. These small bodies pummeled planets, including the moon and the inner solar system. This is one of the possible sources of ice that we now see on the moon. But over billions of years, the ice has been reworked by impacts on the moon, so the record is doubtless confusing. When we finally sort out the history of that ice, we will gain deep insights into the history of our solar system, including how water and carbon were delivered to Earth, making it a life-supporting planet, and how often that happens elsewhere in the cosmos. So Viper was going to be an important step towards answering that question, are we alone in the cosmos? Not a trivial contribution to science. So now, if it's canceled again, we will get several more years of delay or longer. This will be harmful to sustainability in space exploration, to geopolitical challenges in space, and the most important, science. Congress needs to find the money to continue Viper. I understand that projects get punished for going over budget by having the project canceled. Consequences are important, but in my opinion, Viper is too important and too urgent to be using its cancellation as a punishment. Consequences are important. If a project is important enough to receive funding at all, it's important enough to actually get it done. Congress is unhappy with performance. They should fire the individuals responsible, not kill the program unless it's unsalvageable. 100%. If the mission doesn't happen, it is NASA's failure, not the project manager. Besides, money already spent is sunk cost. The great value of this mission can now be purchased for only the remaining cost. Yeah, I think it's Moon versus Mars parties inside NASA. At least that was the big part of the problem when resource prospecting was canceled. All I want to know is who made this decision. I want to know who made this decision so they can be held accountable, so I can take that into my judgment of them later when I talk about spaceflight policy. That's all. Given the small percentage of budget that is NASA, there should be more money to go around to fund both Moon and Mars work, or intertwine them together in one program, in one integrated program, so you don't have infighting in NASA, like what Constellation was supposed to do. You do that, someone decided to screw that up for the same bullcrap reasons. Team Moon versus Team Mars, what the heck is that? There are some people in NASA that thinks human exploration should be focusing on Mars because we've already been to the moon, and there are some people that say we're so far removed from going to the moon that there's much more to learn. We've actually only scratched the surface, quite literally, or quite actually, of the moon with a shovel, and there's plenty more to learn. Personally, I'm on Team Moon, to be 100% honest with you. For NASA, I'm on Team Moon. The argument that we should be going to Mars because we've already been to the moon would have been probably relevant, I'd say 40 years ago. Yeah, 40 years ago. We're so far removed from going to the moon, we basically have to start from scratch. What about Venus? Well, Jim, here's the thing. Integrated architecture. I don't want to rant about it, guys. My brain's already toast today. It's integrated architecture. You don't need to have Team Moon or Team Mars. You could build one type of rocket or one family of rockets that NASA can build in-house, shuttle derived, not shuttle derived. I don't really give a frick at this point. That keeps the people happy, and that comes from a very, very well regimented and integrated mission timeline over 20 to 30 years. They spent $450 million on Viper already. The rover is finished, guys. It has to do one more environmental acceptance test, and then it's done. Done. All they have to do is just put it on a rocket. It's going to cost, I don't know, a couple, like maybe 150 million more. Now, I get sunk cost fallacy. I get it. I understand that you do not cancel missions where hardware has been made already. That is idiotic. EJ just wants to see boots on another celestial body. I want to see progress more than anything, Orion. The moon is figuratively low-hanging fruit compared to Mars. It'd be a good place to practice long-duration missions. Sunk cost fallacy only applies to things that simply do not work. I agree. I agree with you. This is unacceptable. It's unacceptable, especially if this is partisan nonsense. It's unacceptable. I'll be 100% honest with you. Whoever made this decision needs to be held accountable. I want to know, at least so I can publicly shame them. If Phil is right and this reeks of infighting, I'm going to be pissed. Nothing pisses me off more than when people play political football with NASA. Every time this has happened, NASA gets the shaft. It happened when Apollo got canceled. It happened when they canceled Space Station Freedom. It happened at the end of the shuttle program. People play political football with NASA. Those people need to be kicked in the face in Minecraft. I really want to know. So, I mean, I don't want violence against anybody, right? Like, we're not doing that. We're not crazy, right? But at least I want to publicly shame the person that made this decision. They need to be, there needs to be accountability. I'm sorry. There has to. You don't cancel a mission that's like 90% ready to go. You don't. You don't. That goes to, like, yeah, it's a little bit behind. I understand that. That's fine. I understand that stuff is behind. But this is making very tangible progress. Oh, because, I don't know, there's the rover's finished. The rover's done. It's ready to go. I'm generally starting to think that someone has a serious grudge against prospecting on the moon at NASA. Yeah, I'm sorry. Like, even X-33, Pop, I would say in terms of cancelability, X-33 was more cancelable than this because at least there was a problem with X-33 that they had to fix. Vipers had no problems. It's just taken a second. Oh, also, I read about that Prime mission, the mission that NASA says is a replacement for that mission. It's not a replacement. It's a lander. Prime is just a lander. That's it. It lands and prospects in one spot. So instead of getting something like Perseverance on the moon looking for ice, which is what Viper is, we have something like Insight, which just has a drill on the side and goes, that's infuriating. It's infuriating. No, I'm sorry. Like, I don't like playing this card, but my hand has been forced. We need to know who made this decision so they can be shamed. Like, this person should not be working for NASA. I will go that far. I don't know who made this decision, but they need to be sacked. You need to leave. Do you think it would make more sense to focus on closer mission instead of going super far out like Europa Clipper? Yes. Like I said, Julia, there was a time where our focus should have shifted from the moon. That time would have been in the early 70s, when Apollo started to establish a very viable link to the surface of the moon. The time to look outward past Earth's gravwell would have been then, for human exploration at least. That ship sailed. That ship sailed 40 years ago. You know why? Because there's not many people left from the original Apollo program. We're so far removed, we got to relearn it. We have to go relearn how to do this stuff again. Like, yeah, it's just, I always said that I would call out bad space flight policy when I see it. This is bottom tier. It doesn't get worse than this. This is just that. This is how it felt during Constellation. Constellation was worse than this, to be fair. Yeah, it. Don't worry, there's good news. SpaceX showed off their EVA suits. Here, check this out. SpaceX, actually, this came from Polaris. The Polaris Dawn crew tested their EVA suits. This is, these are the suits that SpaceX will use for extravehicular activities. This is get the pitchforks and flaming torches levels of bad. Yes, Tesla, precisely. Look at that, dude. That's pretty sick. Just got here. What happened? NASA canceled the lunar rover, Finico, that was going to launch, albeit delayed by a year, was going to launch sometime later this year. They delayed a lunar rover. And, well, they not delayed it. They canceled it. They canceled a lunar rover that was going to fly later this year and is like 90% complete. It just, actually, the rover's manufactured. It's already been made. It just needs to pass some environmental acceptance testing. NASA canned it, citing we don't need it because we have another Prospector mission later, which that Prospector mission that's supposed to replace it is it doesn't do the same thing. That's like replacing a keyboard with an Xbox controller and saying, oh, they're both input-output devices. It's fine. But here's the kicker. This is what pisses me off the most. They didn't cancel the lander. So we are going, NASA later this year, and with partnering with commercial partners, is going to land a lander on the moon that was designed around a rover on the moon, rover for the moon that's been canceled. We're going to land a rover lander on the moon with no rover. I need to know who made this decision. I need to know so I can shame this person. Don't get me wrong. I don't like being holier than thou. And could I run NASA better? Probably not. Whoever made this decision, this needs to be brought to light because there's a snake. There's a snake somewhere around here. You don't cancel a mission that's 90% ready to go, especially after flight hardware has been fabricated. That is a cardinal sin for spaceflight policy. What do they do with a complete moon rover? Oh, unless somebody... So NASA said, hey, somebody else can pay for this and finish the mission. If we get an inquiry to fund this mission by August 1st, we'll do it. We'll launch the mission. We don't have the money to do that. If nobody funds the mission, if no private company funds the mission by August 1st, they'll scrap it, and they'll take all the instruments off and put them on something else.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
You don't need to be able to cook to you don't need to be able to cook to recognize when someone poops on your plate. I can't. I'm speechless. This is the worst spaceflight policy since Constellation, since the plug was pulled on Constellation. It's the worst. Like, it's bad. Major red flag. Did the Griffin lander go under a redesign? There may have been something with Astrobotic, James. That's a good question. The company that makes the lander launched a test lander earlier this year, and it failed miserably. which goes back to my original point, basically saying that we need to relearn how to do this stuff again. You need to relearn it. You can't trade on the Apollo program's experience because you're writing a check you can't cash. Camera's not completely dialed, but that's close enough. They failed miserably, but they were extremely transparent about it. I don't mind, Hokie. I don't mind that Astrobotic had that fuel leak. I don't care. I don't mind that Intuitive Machines had this fuel leak. Or not fuel leak, that they covered the rangefinders. I just want accountability, that's all. You take ownership of your actions and you fix them. Having a problem on the first mission like that when you're doing something that's completely untestable, right, is fine. Even NASA's first probes that they sent to the moon in the 60s didn't work, but they sent another one, and then they worked. You know, it's unacceptable. Camera's walking out, dude. Not against Artemis in any way, so don't take this way, but do you think they're going to cancel most science in favor of Artemis? I don't know. I don't know. I can't say. What mod are you using for the skybox? Astronomer's Visual. How are you supposed to learn from your mistakes when you're only sending one lander? Exactly. Long story short, I mean, I guess that's a fault in the logic for the Commercial Lunar Payload Services program, right? Like, it should have been taken into account that some of these missions may have failed. But then again, that's the reason why they had these precursor missions to the actual landing scientific missions. There's Intuitive Machines 1, 2, and 3. And then Astrobotic had their Peregrine lander, and then the Griffin landers after that. I mean, so yeah, there's redundant missions set up. You can't punish a company for not getting it right on the first time. It's space flight. That's like giving somebody an F because they're trying to learn math and they got the first time they tried to do a freaking trig problem, they didn't get it right. Oh, you get an F, you didn't get it right the first time. I don't know, Deptown. I have no idea. Something is very fishy with NASA's moon missions. Well, Ilona, this is... You know what? I actually kind of agree with you. Somebody's playing games here. Someone's playing games, and I don't like it. EJ feedback from Mike, sir. It's the fan, guys. Seems like the Artemis program is slowly getting the axe. I agree. It honestly feels like there's a large group trying to sandbag the moon stuff. From there, I imagine decisions come from the top. Well, Bill Nelson has already shown that he has different favorability with different commercial providers. We've seen that because he's held SpaceX's feet to the fire in multiple press conferences and allowed other spaceflight companies to just not answer questions. Do you guys remember that? I didn't forget that. There was a press conference where regarding future Artemis missions. It was the press conference where they announced that they were delaying the Artemis mission, Artemis 2, by a year. People asked questions about Orion, and the guy from Lockheed dodged the question. People asked questions about SLS, and the guy from Boeing dodged the question. Somebody asked a question about SpaceX refueling stuff. So how many missions is it going to take to refuel and send HLS out to the moon? And the SpaceX, her name is Jess Jensen. She basically said, we're not exactly sure right now. And Bill said, why don't you just answer the question? Selective accountability is disgusting. Disgusting behavior. Here's a nice change of pace. Found you a future garage project. Yeah, cool. It's just disgusting. It's so gross. What is this right here? It's the back of the amplifier? Oh, yeah. I was wondering what that was. My camera broke today, so yeah, I'm on my old camera, which is great. I'm not having a good day, guys. Not having a good day. I don't know if you guys can tell. I am absolutely not. When did the SpaceX accountability thing happen? It was in a press conference regarding delaying the future Artemis missions, because they delayed the future Artemis missions because the environmental control and life support systems for Orion did not pass acceptance testing. They were not good enough for the mission requirements for Artemis 3. Glaring red flag in your systems engineering. Glaring red flag. This isn't a, that's not a, oh, we screwed up, ha 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 ha. You know, that's not like a same type of problem that like Astrobotic or Intuitive Machines had, where it's like an honest mistake. And I mean, it may have been an honest mistake too, right? But honestly, the Orion capsule has been in development for a decade. Well, since 2014 in its modern iteration. And before that, it stems back to the early 2000s with the Constellation program. Keep in mind, they basically rebaselined the entire capsule in 2012. They rebaselined the entire thing. So I think it's fair to just say it was a clean sheet design in 2014. They've been working on it for 10 years. You telling me just now you didn't realize that your life support systems don't meet your mission requirements? Like, God, that's not an honest mistake. That is a glaring issue in your systems engineering. Like, a glaring issue. This capsule is designed for deep space exploration, for human deep space exploration, with stakeholder expectations of being used as a lifeboat for Mars missions and long-duration stays outside of Earth's gravity, beyond, well, not Earth's gravity, beyond low Earth orbit, outside in deep space with radiation. Nobody bothered to make sure that the life support systems last this long? It's a glaring red flag. Like, yeah, I'm getting a little sick of this. This is nonsense. Maybe if we'd flown it before we would have found the issues. Look, Aguilex, Lockheed is good. I'm not trying to say Lockheed Martin can't engineer a capsule. But when has Lockheed Martin ever engineered a capsule before? Sorry, this doesn't reek of incompetence, it reeks of inexperience. And whoever thought it would be a good idea to put people on the second flight of a capsule and bench test your life support systems with people on board is a moron. That's idiotic. That's an idiotic testing regime. I've always thought it was stupid, but, you know, I gave Lockheed the benefit of the doubt. That's an idiotic test. Why would you? Not even the Apollo program did that. Not even the Apollo program did that. Yeah, I know. I know. I'm just saying it matter of factly. I know we're on the same. Is the Orion? We really want to go back, or is the Orion based on the Apollo CSM? No. Beefy, the Orion capsule is, think about the Apollo CSM being a 69 Mustang. Okay? Orion is a 2015 Mustang. Do they bear the same name? Do they do kind of the same thing? Yeah. Are there any interchangeable parts? No. No, absolutely not. Did the capsule on Delta Port Heavy not have any life support testing equipment? The capsule that launched on EFT-1 Fish had nothing on board but some basic electronic sensors, basic guidance, and a heat shield. That's all it was supposed to test. Didn't even have a service module. Artemis 1 had a service module and pretty much all systems except for the life support systems. And to give credit where credit is due, all those systems worked just fine, except for the heat shield. The heat shield charred in a way that they couldn't predict. It didn't fail. It deformed in a way that that was enough of a deviance from what they thought was going to happen that they said, we need to look into this. Yeah, exactly, Aqualex. Yeah, right. Yeah. Did any other agency act a program like Viper or Constellation, not counting the N1? Oh, the Europeans are notorious for this, Driados. Look up the Hermes program. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, they do that all the time. Not anymore, geek. Not anymore, because they went to test the life support system and it didn't work. So, all right, a little matter of clarification on this. So, EFT-1 was basically just a heat shield test. The heat shield deformed correctly from coming back from a medium Earth orbit. Delta IV Heavy does not have enough to put Orion on a translunar injection free return. Not even close. So they tested the heat shield from high Earth orbit. It worked just fine. Or from medium Earth orbit. Worked just fine. Then, that was in 2014. Artemis 1 launched in what, 2022? I don't even remember. Right? Something like that? Yeah, James, something like that. The life support system. So Artemis 1 did not have any life support on it. Didn't have any life support on it. Somebody thought it would be a better idea to put life support systems on the second mission. I don't necessarily think that's the worst idea, but somebody also decided to put people on it on the second mission. So here's the thing. The life support systems passed acceptance testing for Artemis 2. So we're good to go there. Technically. Here's the problem with that. Artemis 3, which is arguably what this capsule is designed to do. Go out there, long duration missions, stay out there for a long period of time, right? I mean, and you know, form rendezvous, docking operations, etc., etc. Dock with the lander. Lander goes down. 2 people go down to the surface. 2 people stay on the capsule, right? It's designed to dock with Gateway and be at Gateway for long periods of time, right? The life support systems for Artemis 3, which is basically what the capsule was designed to do, didn't pass acceptance testing. They basically said, we need these life support systems to last a month, and they didn't last a month. You look super tan. Have you been on a beach? I have my other camera working, Jacobs, because my main camera kicked the bucket today. I've not been having it. But it's good to see you. Yeah, so, Geek, I know what that seems like. It's like, oh, we'll just have them fly on Artemis 2. It's not a big deal. No, no, that's a glaring red flag. Artemis 2 is not the mission that Orion was designed to do. Artemis 3 is the mission that Orion is designed to do. That's the whole reason that capsule exists. Because it's designed to stay out there for long periods of time and keep the people inside alive. NASA, citing this glaring issue, delayed Artemis 2 by a year in a press conference a little bit earlier this year. And that's where Bill, I lost a lot of respect for Bill that day. Like, a lot of respect. Like, you, dude, you just, I don't like you. Or at least I'm indifferent at this point. Yeah. So here's my question. I understand, like, I understand that you're going to, it's a teething problem. Every spacecraft has teething problems. How in the name of Jeb was this not taken into account for a capsule that's designed to do a mission that's even more complicated than the missions that we flew 15 years ago? How did somebody say, yeah, we'll test it with life support and humans on at the same time? Yeah, we could do all the testing on the ground, it'll be fine. Yeah, Junie, just make sure we don't crank the criticism to 11, right? I'm trying to be fair. Yeah, Aqualex, I agree with that. It seems like induced complacency to try and make stuff look bad, which reeks of infighting. And dude, here's the honest truth. Like, I'm not trying, like, I don't want to talk about this stuff, right? But my hand's kind of been forced here. I'll be real with you. I don't care what letter somebody has to their name. If I find out who does, I don't care. We find out who does this, I will ridicule them on the stream. I'm not even kidding. I don't wish violence against anybody. It's messed up. Ever. Except if I'm playing Counter-Strike, in which case, you know, but that's the internet, right? Like, the person who made this decision regarding Viper is a symptom of that much bigger problem that I was talking about yesterday. And I don't really want to say it's down to political infighting, but reading what Phil had to say about it seems that, I mean, I don't want to blame it on a boogeyman. There needs to be accountability. You have to be able to point the finger at someone and say, that's the problem right there. You can't just say, oh, it's politics. All right, let's just keep doing what we're doing so we can just fall for this same thing in 4 years. You know what I mean? You think someone is trying to bypass the playbook to get back on schedule so they can be competitive? I don't know. Yeah, exactly, Geek. It sounds pretty stupid, right? Very late to this conversation. Understanding nothing is simple. What is happening? Jacobs, NASA, the reason why this whole conversation is happening is because NASA decided to cancel one of its commercial lunar payload services missions. The Viper mission, which was a lunar prospecting rover, basically a rover that goes around and drills for ice to figure out good spots to make a moon base on the moon. The Viper rover was supposed to launch on Astrobotic, a commercial company's Griffin lander, later this year. It was delayed by a year because Astrobotic had problems with the Peregrine mission, so it got a little bit delayed. It's fine. Most that happens sometimes. A lot of missions don't hit their mark, right? This happens. So, NASA canceled the Viper rover when it was 90, I've been saying it's 90% completed. I would say it's 100% completed. It has one more environmental test to pass, and then it's certified for flight. It's manufactured. The rover's built. NASA canceled a pretty much fully working rover that's been manufactured with all of its scientific equipment ready to go and sunk $450 million into it. They canceled it, but they didn't cancel the lander or the Griffin 1 mission. So later this year, we're going to launch a lander that was specifically designed for a rover to land on the moon with no rover. The rover that's sitting in a hangar, 100% ready to go. NASA said that they're canceling it because of schedule creep and because the funding for this mission will affect future commercial lunar payload service missions. It'll take away funding from other missions that could cause a ripple effect and delay your timelines. But we're still landing an empty lander on the moon with no rover. Who said that's okay? NASA did, geek. NASA's the one that hey, the commercial partners are the one that come up with the test flight regime, okay? With input from NASA. NASA's the one that ultimately approves this stuff. Smart. Yeah. Picking up your sarcasm from all the way over here. Do you believe that? No. Absolutely not, Ilona. No. No way. They already sank $450 million into this. It would take through NASA's own admission, it would take about another $150 million. $150 million is chump change comparatively to the science that rover will gather. It's chump change. That's 2 Falcon 9 launches. Chump change. 2 Falcon 9 crew launches, I'll say. Let's just... I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is unacceptable behavior. The people that made this decision need to be held responsible and need to never work in aerospace ever again. Ever. I mean, ever. Go be a janitor somewhere. You should be tending the snack bar. This is ridiculous. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. It makes my skin crawl, dude. That and the geopolitical positioning that'll give us. Yeah, Glux, that's what I mean. That's what I was trying to... I couldn't say it right yesterday. That's what I was trying to get at, dude. There are more things at stake here than just screwing up our potential mission timeline and taking away money from other missions. There's more at stake here. There are definitely geopolitical things here that, I mean, dude, we got it. I'm getting pissed off. I'm getting really mad. It's mad that I can't think straight. So how about that Starship V2 design though? It's crazy to me, Blue Flare. Elon seems to be the only one that understands the urgency needed here. And, well, that and all of his employees at SpaceX. He seems to be the only one. Like, dude, I try not to fanboy about things, but, you know... I understand why people vehemently defend SpaceX all the time, because, dude, they're the only ones making tangible progress on a relatively useful timescale. There's very big urgency here to get out on the stars, because if we're not going to do it, someone else will. China did it in the US, can't do it anymore. Rem, not only did China send a rover to the moon, that rover picked up a sample and they sent the sample back. Meanwhile, us over here are sending a lander with no rover on it. And in order to get the rover, because the rover was engineered to land, or the lander was engineered to land with the rover on it. If nobody puts up the funding for the Viper mission, NASA will put a big steel block on it, a mass simulator, to make sure that the lander works correctly, because the lander was engineered, the whole lander was engineered around landing that Viper rover. Do you agree with Elon that we need to be a two-planet species, Earth and Mars? Absolutely, Rainbow. Oh, yeah. I think the danger for an existential extinction event is high. It's a lot higher than people think. Just like everything else, it probably won't be a problem. No one's going to care until it actually starts messing with stuff. We have the ability to go to the moon. We have the ability to go to Mars. We can do this. We can do it. I mean, I don't mean to parrot Von Braun, but he said this 50 years ago. He said, we have been given the scientific knowledge, the technical materials, and the ability to explore the exploration. No, what does he say? Here, you know what? I'll just play the damn quote. My brain's too scrambled to be able to think what it was. Here.
We have been given the scientific knowledge, the technical ability, and the materials to pursue the exploration of the universe. To ignore these great resources would be a corruption of a God-given ability.
There you go. That was the quote. It was quite surprising how thin the V2 flaps are. Probably a decent mass margin increase. Oh, for sure. How's it going? Are you already in space? Oh, yeah. My brain is in space today. I mean, it's getting frustrating. It's getting very frustrating. You know, I don't even think it's corruption here. I think there's infighting at NASA. I think there are people at NASA that think they have a god complex, and it's pissing me off. I'm a scientist. We should go to Mars. Mars should be objectively our avenue for human space exploration. No, we shouldn't. I'm a scientist too. We should be going to the moon. We need funding for this. No, we need funding for this. You guys ever seen that episode of Futurama where Farnsworth and Wernstrom are arguing? No, it's diamondium, you idiot. No, it's diamondylium. That. But with NASA. That's what's going on here. Do you think a potential return of Bridenstine would potentially get the ship back on course? I don't know. Personally, you're on Team Moon. Jacobs, I think what Oculux said in chat is right. We can do both of these things. We can do both of them. That's why I've been saying in integrated architecture, you develop a spaceflight architecture that gives you an avenue to the surface of the moon, but also gives you the ability to get to Mars. Like the Constellation program. Dude, it doesn't even need to be like the Constellation program anymore. It's just the Constellation had it right. That was correct. That was the right move. But Constellation got axed under very similar circumstances to this because somebody said, no, this is too expensive. We need to do something else. We just let commercial do all of it. It's cheaper. Because the government is a beacon for fiscal conservancy. Fiscal conservation, right? Yeah. Okay. You need to make a robust launch vehicle that'll be able to do that'll be able to simultaneously get us to the moon, but also be able to build Martian architecture for transfer vehicles. Going to Mars is not easy. It's not easy. But if you build a vehicle that's good enough to get a lander and a lander and a capsule out to the moon and circularize in low lunar orbit, if you have a lander that has enough characteristic energy to be able to, or a launch vehicle that has enough characteristic energy in Delta V to be able to do something like that, like the Saturn V, that automatically gives you baseline capability to be able to develop infrastructure with super heavy lift launch to build a vehicle in low Earth orbit that you could eventually use to get to Mars. I'm sorry, VV, I'm just not having a good day. This stuff with NASA, guys, I shouldn't let it get to me this much. Like, I'll be 100% real. I shouldn't let it get to me. I was pissed yesterday, and I was holding back. I was holding back a lot. But yeah, that ruined my day, and probably my... Starship is very tall and thin. I feel like it's going to flip when it lands on the moon and Mars because it won't land on a flat and hard concrete surface. And am I wrong? Well, Angry, I don't think you're wrong, right? No, Starship is arguably super tall, but you got to remember, the highest mass stuff is the engines by a long shot, and that's down low. That's down real low. The design suggests this, right? Why else would SpaceX have header tanks on Starship? To be able to get that center of mass further forward, right? Makes sense. Yeah? Someone broke up on the wrong side of the Starliner. Hey, William, what's up, man? Right? So, the center of mass on the human landing system Starship is a lot lower than what the shape suggests. Because think about it, the top part where the people are is mostly empty space. Because there's people in there. Believe it or not, the crew tank where the people stay is one of the lightest parts of the spacecraft. You know why? Because it's mostly just air. Because people need to move around. Make sense? So you have HLS doesn't have header tanks, so the center of mass is actually super low on that. So that favors a stable, not that big of a landing leg to land on the moon and, you know, not tip over, because all the mass is down at the bottom because the engines, right? It's like Falcon 9's landing legs, dude. So think about this for a second. Here. If we look at a Falcon 9 that's landed, right? Here, let's just... These are just some pictures that I pulled up from the GPS-3 SVO3 mission. So take a look, dude. I mean, it's a good question to ask, for sure. But look at the landing legs on this thing. The landing legs are all... They're way down the bottom. But Falcon 9 is super tall. Same exact thing. These are great pictures, by the way, too. This is off of Teslarati, but these are SpaceX pictures that Teslarati reposted. Not anything against Teslarati. Teslarati's cool. Those guys are cool. I'm acquaintances with them. I don't know them very well, but they're good people. So check it out. The reason why this is because the engines are the highest mass part by a long shot. So the center of mass of Falcon 9 is down here when it goes into land. Now keep in mind, when they go to land on the moon, they got to take off again. So the center of mass might be a little bit higher. Just a little bit. But that basically means that you're looking for a type of landing leg with a crush core design similar to Apollo. The Apollo landers had a very similar design. In fact, I would contend to say that Falcon 9's landing legs are derived from the Apollo lander, from the lunar lander, in the way that they use an aluminum honeycomb crush core as their shock absorber. You notice how some Falcon 9s come in a little off center, like they land, and when they come back they're kind of crooked? That's because it might come down a little bit sideways. That's because the wind might blow it around, or the drone ship is, because it's moving like this, it, you know, it might come down when the drone ship's high on one side, and then the drone ship levels out and it comes down. It could crush the core on one of those. Now, don't get me wrong, the surface of the moon is not moving around. So if it did come down on somewhat of a, you know, curved slope, you'd crush the core on one side and the thing would level itself. You don't need that big of a landing leg. Because you have a relatively low center of mass, and if you have a crush core designed similar to Falcon 9's landing legs, it'll auto-level. That's what happened during Apollo. You ever notice that most of the lunar... Go look at the lunar excursion module. Go look at pictures of the LEM on the surface. It's mostly upright every time. The one exception would be Apollo 12. Or no, Apollo 15. I think it was 15. 15 did land on a crooked surface, for the people, just in case people were wondering. But even 15, that was enough. See what I'm talking about? Did you hear about moon caves? Friggin' moon caves? Would be a great spot for a base, City Robo, because there's most likely ice in those caves. Hopefully that helps. How's the research on processing regolith coming? Oh, really bad, actually, Boone. Yeah, NASA just canceled one of their lunar prospecting probes. Like, actually really bad. Yeah, probably the worst it's been in about 5 years. My bad, I was camping there a couple weeks ago, dig a couple caves. It's all good, man. If you could just tell us how you got there so we could actually use it to get there again, that'd be... Hey, Virgil. How are you? Alright, well, I said that I would show you guys how to land a booster today, so let's see if I can do it. I don't know if I'm up to task today, but we'll see. In terms of lunar and Martian infrastructure being the same thing, they've outright admitted that Gateway is intended as a Mars transfer vehicle in the back channels. That's the understanding of the people signing on to the Artemis Accords. Gateway is as much of a prototype Mars transfer vehicle as the ISS is a spaceship. Solar electric propulsion for Mars transfer? Give me a frickin' break, dude. Look, Aqualux, I'm not beating around the bush anymore. There was a time where I would give NASA the benefit of the doubt. Now is not one of those times. Gateway is there to give... Gateway is there to make the lunar program sustainable. Robert Zubrin has called it a toll booth, and I basically agree with him. It's a toll booth. But what do toll booths, in a perfect world, do? Toll booths charge you for driving on a road so they can maintain the road. They maintain vital avenues of transportation. I think that's a fair thing to say for lunar exploration. But to imply that somehow the Gateway is going to be used in any way, shape, or form, even with derivative vehicles, as a Mars transfer vehicle is absurd. That's absurd. There's no freaking way, unless you want to wait 5 years to get to Mars and stay 5 years cooped up on a small freaking ship like that. There's no way. I'm sorry. The time to be nice was gone. The gloves are off. I'm pissed. I'm very, very, very angry about this. This is it's just same snot as Constellation. Welcome to Worcester. Hey, Foss, what's going on? It's unacceptable. This is unacceptable behavior. Alright, let's go. See if I can actually try to get something done today. Alright. Thermally condition the motors. Let's make sure that our flight control surfaces are working. Well, our control systems are working. Alright. Go. Guidance is internal. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, good. Roll program. Roll program complete. Vehicles pitching downrange. Aqualux, you're not wrong, but I'll be quite honest with you. I'm frankly sick of this stopgap interim bullshit. You're gonna have solar electric propulsion, and then you're gonna switch to nuclear propulsion. I'll believe they're gonna do that when my shit turns purple. Someone feed EJ purple food dye now! How much asparagus did you eat? Purple food coloring, we can make this happen. We can succeed, Chad. The sound is waterfall, Snake. No, Yannick, they have not. Yeah, Waymill, I'll make sure to do that. Alright. Throttling up. Stand by for staging. Miko. Stage separation confirmed. Upper stage ignition. Okay. Guidance on the second stage is normal. Switching back to the first stage. RCS enabled. Safing for the engines. Right now, I'm switching to the first stage to be able to boost my apogee up high enough to get it so we can coast right back to the landing site. Okay, boost back burn confirmed. Reorienting the stage. For landing here. Okay, landing systems are good. Okay, stage will coast for a little bit, switch over to the second stage. Stand by for bearing separation. Bearing separation confirmed. Good, good. We've seen what re-entry from low Earth orbit did to Starship. How is it going to survive when it comes back from the moon? Because SpaceX is iterating on the design snake. They're actively changing it based off of what happened during that flight. Starship has also since then has had some major redesigns, dude. Yeah, they're gonna change it based off of their findings. They're being very scientific about it. And to be honest with you, not much else would have made it through that re-entry trajectory that they took. All right, stand by. Seco. Okay, Seco confirmed. We're in a temporary parking orbit here because it was just a mess. I don't care about that second stage. Why do we need space crew in real life? We have a pro remote pilot here. I'm about as qualified to fly a spacecraft in real life as a dog is to do calculus. We have acquisition of signal on the landing site. Stand by for... Clouds. Ground altimeter is on. Landing burn. I started the burn too late. Damn. Well, I got a piece of it back to the landing site. It's super heavy, Matt. Yeah, I needed to burn probably 1 to 2 seconds earlier. Oh, look, booster 12 during the first catch attempt. But, yeah, if you want to know how to do that, that's how you do it. Somebody asked me last night, how do you get the first stage back and land? Well, you have to kind of juggle back and forth between your, you have to juggle back and forth between your first and second stage during the ascent. Yeah. Hayabusa landing. Nice. Entropy, 36 months.
Discovery,
New badge.
go at throttle up.
Who dis? I did a successful super heavy and ship tower catch. Oh, now I gotta clean this mess up. It's gonna take forever. Yo, we out here though. What's up, Jersey? How you doing? Yo, Elon copied the design from this channel. I mean, I appreciate the flattery, but it's the reverse of that. MLV has a landing leg design that kinematically is copied from Falcon 9. I use the robotics in KSP to basically make the landing legs work exactly like Falcon 9s. They do the exact same thing right down to the crush core. The crush cores unfortunately can't survive hitting the ground at 102 meters a second. You know, it's a little too much. We bottomed out the suspension there. Like Blue's landing legs? No, this is a copy of Don't sell yourself short, I meant some smart dogs. Surprisingly circular for first, second stage burn. Yeah, Voss, I'm good at doing orbital insertions in KSP. Pretty good at it. It's muscle memory at this point. The whole rocket is the crush core. Everything's a spring. Right? It's a good thing to learn about material science. Everything is a spring. Okay? Speaking of Blue, did you see the new Glenn landing leg tests? Yes, I did. Pretty damn cool. They're using a slightly different landing leg design. This design is more like landing on an airplane than it is like Falcon 9s. Meaning they have a shock absorber instead of a crush core. There's suspension here. Now, Falcon 9 does have suspension, but the suspension is one-time use. It's a crush core. That's your shock absorber. Instead of having like a gas shock absorber or a hydraulic shock absorber like on a car. This has aircraft derived. Those are airplane components right there. That piece right there. That's a shock absorber from landing gear. It looks exactly like one. And you see how they lock into position when they see how right there it seems like it binds for a second and then it like bows out and locks in. Yeah, that's cool. This works exactly like airplane landing gear. Except that airplane landing gear would be like this mounted horizontally and the landing gear would, you know, fall out like this and the wheel would be at the bottom. This is that same design just turned 90 degrees. It very much looks like a landing gear strut. You see, once again, them popping into position, right? Like that. You see how it bows out and in? That's locked. That's a locked system. Meaning that instead of using a sliding collet like what SpaceX does, this landing gear will be very reusable. Very reusable. Like I said, this works more like airplane landing gear. It's designed to be reused a bunch of times. Now, don't get me wrong. Falcon 9s are as well. The crush core on Falcon 9 is easily replaceable. Yeah, but is it gravity? Most likely spring and then gravity. I mean, Coltech, Falcon 9 uses gravity, but you need, if I had to guess, there is a mechanism that's on these opening flaps right here that basically pushes the landing leg open. If I had, yeah, see, there's a connecting rod right there. Do you see it? See that piece? This thing, dude, I'm telling you, this is airplane landing gear, but on the side of a rocket. Yeah, that's really what it is. That's flight hardware, by the way. Oh no, I know. See that connecting rod right there? That starts the actuation process for leg deploy. So basically, all they're controlling here is something that's commanding these flaps to open. And then mechanically, the leg can't come down unless the flap is fully open. Because the flap being in the fully open position is what... Do you see how the flap, these opening flaps kind of, they wiggle for a second? That's them triggering the mechanism. All of them just flap around. That's them pushing that connecting rod down to start landing leg out, deploy. I'm telling you, man, this is landing gear. The shuttle's landing gear did this. Did something exactly like this. If we're going to talk other spaceflight hardware, the shuttle, if you watch the shuttle deploy its gear, the doors open first. The doors open, and only when the doors are in the fully open position do the landing legs fall. That's a mechanical system. There's a locking collet on the kind of neck of the shuttle's landing gear, and that locking collet is attached to a lever. And when the door opens up, that lever actually separates and opens the collet for the gear to come down. That's the only way the shuttle's gear could come down mechanically if the doors were fully open. Blue Origin's landing legs are that's airplane, dude, I'm telling you, it's airplane landing gear, only just on its side. Like, the landing gear would be like this, and the wheel would deploy down like this. It's that. It's on its side. Same exact mechanism. Won't that make the engine bay extremely heavy? I mean, compared to Falcon 9 and others? Yeah, I mean, probably, Forge, but I don't, why would you ask that question? I'm not sure I understand why you would ask this, and forgive me for presuming. Yeah, of course it's going to be heavy. New Glenn's a bigger rocket, way bigger than Falcon 9, and it has 6 landing legs because it needs 6 instead of 4 because it's freaking gigantic. New Glenn first stages are almost as tall as the Saturn V first and second stage. Actually, it is as tall as that. We're talking about a way bigger rocket here. A way bigger rocket is going to warrant a different type of landing leg. In fact, the bigger you go, the less, either you have to have more landing legs, and it's probably ends up being a diminishing return, or you be like SpaceX and say, frick it, we don't need any landing legs. Leave the landing legs on the ground, and we'll catch it with its own landing legs. Yeah, New Glenn's a way bigger rocket, so it's going to be way heavier, of course. I don't understand the implication behind that question. Like, why would you ask that? Would that be a good design for Super Heavy? I do not think this system would work very well with Super Heavy cryoprop. That and the other thing, Forge, is that, look, they're not retrofitting landing gear to New Glenn. The landing gear are designed. They're already put into the design. They're designing around the landing because their stakeholder expectation is that this rocket is reusable. It was built with reusability in mind from the start. I mean, don't get me wrong, so was Falcon 9. But Falcon 9, with the way SpaceX does things, they said, yeah, we might be able to reuse this later, but let's get it flying in expendable mode first. And then they retrofitted all the systems with landing legs, and then they upgraded the system to be a little bit more integrated with the landing legs based off of flight data, right? Yeah, I like the old sliding landing legs, Forge, to be honest with you. Curiosity found something. I ran over a rock and found crystals inside. It's pure sulfur. Elemental sulfur is something we've never seen before on Mars. We don't know much about these yellow crystals, but the team is excited to investigate. Cool. All right. Yeah, so when you build a rocket with reusability in mind, you're not going to get something like Falcon 9. So are the landing legs heavier? Oh, yeah, absolutely. But it's built into the design. So to say that, well, it's going to be heavier compared to Falcon 9, well, yeah, of course. But that design has been taken into account. That's been taken into account. I mean, yeah, why catch big tube with metal legs? I mean, Shattermage, it's just feeding into a problem that I think once your rocket gets big enough, you have to look at other mechanisms besides landing legs. There's a point, there's some type of like double logarithmic scale where the mass of the landing legs and the delta V of the rocket become too much. Like your landing legs to land this big of a rocket are going to take up too much mass and screw your mass fraction royally. Clearly, there's some type of intersection where it's better to just like I said, leave the landing legs on the ground, like what SpaceX is doing. I'm willing to bet that Super Heavy is probably somewhere past that intersection point, but New Glenn isn't. So how big are those landing legs compared to Falcon 9s? That's actually a good picture that was linked. There you go. They're pretty big, dude. Like I said, this looks like landing gear. And once again, there's an integrated shock absorber in this design. So reusable. It's suspension. It's a shock absorber. Now keep in mind there's no spring. There's just a shock absorber. Interesting. Land the booster into a giant ball pit, fixed forever. I actually think catching the booster, William, would probably be easier than a giant ball pit. They're pretty big. Yeah, they're big. They're big landing legs, dude. Agree to disagree. Yeah, that's heavily derived from airplane landing. Hey, Gibbons, what's up, dude? Gibbs, what were you playing today, buddy? Thanks for the raid. We're just checking out Blue Origin's landing leg design for New Glenn. Catch it with magnets. Well, how do they work? How will the retraction mechanism work? If I'm looking at this forge, they probably just pick the rocket up with a crane and then just push the landing gear back up. Freaking miracles. I see miracles every day. After many days of struggle, I've managed a very chill City Skylines 2 stream. Right on, man. There you go. Cool, cool. The red bit at the start is also for the strakes. Are you sure? Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, you say plane landing gear. If that's true, look at this. It's New Shepherds. I don't understand. Is it feasible, worth it to test these legs in a wind tunnel to see how they deploy against the wind? Taco, that's actually a really good question, dude. Okay. Let's think about this. When do the landing legs deploy? Like, think about how fast the landing gear, how fast the rocket is going when the landing legs deploy. 100 miles an hour? 50 miles an hour? Think about it, dude. It's a good question. It's a good question to ask. It's the short answer is that it's not going very fast. Right? Now, don't get me wrong. If you tried to deploy this landing gear any time, but at the last second, the aerodynamic forces will just it'll just close them. the arrow, it'll try to deploy it, and the wind will just be like, no. But it looks like they took that into account here. Now, remember what I said. The landing gear doesn't exactly work unless these forward flaps are opening. Right? If these forward hatches don't open, the legs won't work, right? I think Blue Origin was a little trick in their design here. That's actually really smart. Now, once again, if there is any aerodynamics with this thing, right? If there is anything that's going to, like say it's at 100 miles an hour when they start to deploy it, and, it goes from 100 down to 0, obviously, when it lands, right? Here's the thing. right? So arguably this is going to deploy at the whatever the fastest encountered velocity. That makes the aerodynamics work for you. The arrow is actually what opens this. Look, the legs won't open unless these things are fully deployed. Now, if you look, there's clearly some leeway here. Watch the thing flap around. Watch. See how it does that? And then the legs go. When these flaps open, right, the air is actually going to push them up. And I bet you by the time that happens, the rocket, I mean, obviously the BE-4 is going to be firing, and the rocket will slow down enough to deploy this thing. This actually gets the aerodynamics to work with it and makes this part of the landing gear, the entire mechanism that initiates actuation, a gigantic speed brake. So it'll slow you down real fast. Yeah, they deploy like speed brakes in fighter jets, Mishu, but it's the opposite direction. You know, the speed brake deploys against the laminar flow. This deploys with the laminar flow. So the aerodynamics, and that's why this is such a good question. And believe it or not, Taco, I did not notice this until you said something. You know, I said before, see that connecting rod right there? This guy, up there where the mouse cursor is. That is a mechanical, it's a mechanical connecting rod. It's a Heim joint. And you can definitely see that this mechanism is connected to that mechanism. It's connected to the main landing gear strut right there. Meaning that this, the leg will not deploy until that thing opens up. Like I said, that works like airplane landing gear. It's a mechanical D10. My guess is that Blue Origin took that into account when they made this. These will deploy and aerodynamics will force them open because the rocket is flying that way. And the resulting drag that's induced during the landing regime from this will slow the stage down enough to where the leg, the force of gravity pushing down on the leg is enough to overcome aerodynamic forces. That's actually really smart. That's a really smart design. I must say, like, I'm not just saying how to blow smoke up Blue Origin. You guys have been trying to launch something for like 2 decades. You know what I mean? Like, but I will say that's pretty trick engineering. That's cool. That's really smart. That's using what you have. That's using aerodynamic forces, which should be an impedance that should go against the landing legs. That's using it to work for you. That's what aerospace engineering is all about. Use what you have in the flight regime that you're given to achieve what you're trying to do. Look, there's already going to be a ton of air passing by here. Instead of trying to make some type of mechanical system that's going to push those legs down and go against the aerodynamic forces, have this thing open up and use the aerodynamic forces to open your landing legs. That's smart. Now, so why are they testing it here? Why does it work here? Well, clearly they can test it under 1g acceleration, right? But the decelerative forces during a landing burn is most likely going to be more than 1g. So if it works here, it'll work there. Once again, the aerodynamic is the induced drag from these plates right here is actually going to make this work better than this. I'll bet you it deploys better when we actually go to see a Nublins come down and land. William, that's an attempt. My comments about not launching anything is my attempt to be impartial. The truth of the matter is that it takes talent to do anything like this. I appreciate Blue. I really do. Lay by the bay. I just may. What do you say? I appreciate anybody that has the balls to throw their money into the ring and try to do reuse. I mean, SpaceX has my utmost respect, but so does Blue. I mean, I really want them to launch. I'm not going to lie to you. I just want to see this thing fly because it's going to be amazing. But this is actually some really smart design. That's really, really, really well thought out engineering. This is New Glenn's engine section, Lazarus. Thank you, sir. Yeah, no problem, Taco. That like I said, dude, that was a good question. Yeah, see how they flutter around? The arrow will make that not happen. The arrow will push those things to their absolute maximum throw right there, and the landing legs will actually work better under deceleration. Smart. That's really smart. My guess is that this was learned from New Shepard. I'll bet you that was learned directly from landing tests of New Shep. Because if you look at these landing tests, right? Here, let's open that. No, it just won't allow you. Here, let's just look at the. Damn it, Blue. So if you look at New Shepard, right? New Shepard has those flaps that deploy. Same exact thing. Honestly, it looks exactly the same. Now, they're probably not using the exact same thing, but they have these deployable speed brakes on New Shepard. So it's very clear that Blue has a lot of flight data and testing behind an air brake system like this. Like, once again, dude, look at those flaps right there, and look at the flaps on New Shepard. They're almost exactly the same. Specifically, if you look here, the air brakes around the ring fin. Smart. That's really smart, actually. Air brakes integrated into the leg deployment probably saves weight. The air brakes are actually will help smooth out the leg deployment, believe it or not, Nils. Look at when these things deployed. See them flutter around? That won't happen when the thing comes into land. They won't do that because the air is going to force them open. And the aerodynamics forcing them open is going to force the landing leg open. This basically makes it so your landing leg, however much air is pushing against this thing, it will articulate the landing legs. Smart. Very smart. And this is flight data driven design, guys. That's genius. It's good stuff, man. That's really smart. Like, an airplane landing gear derived design driven by flight data gained from suborbital landings. Genius. Smart. That's very smart. Let me try making this in KSP and putting it on MLB. I don't know, man. That mechanism is a little bit more complicated. Could I do it? Sure. But I don't think I can miniaturize hybrid tech enough to actually get that to work. Who knows? Oh, Starliner update. Hold on. Starliner thruster ground testing is complete. Teams are moving forward with reviews to support flight rationale for Starliner's return to Earth with the crew flight test commander Butch Wilmore and pilot Sonny Williams in the coming weeks. Good. They validated their updated control systems to make sure the thrusters don't exceed operational firing life cycle. Smart. Good for them. I'm sorry, guys, dude. That NASA stuff's still pissing me off. I'm trying as hard as I can to not let it piss me off, but it's pissing me off. Cobra reusability expansion has the new blend landing. Yeah, Sputnik. Sure. Yeah, there are mods, dude, but what I really like to do is try to make it in KSP. And having mods do that, you don't really understand how the whole system works. I like to use the robotics in KSP to try and mimic the engineering so I can use it as a teaching tool. You know what I mean? So like this, my medium launch vehicle. This is a Kerbalized version of Falcon 9. Like, obviously there's not 9 engines, there's 7. So because that's really the best application for a stage this size, Could I sit here and overclock engines with a Cal controller? Sure, but if you look at this thing, watch. I built Falcon 9's landing legs here, or at least an approximation of basically exactly how the real ones work. See what I mean? I don't like using mods because if I just say, oh yeah, this has New Glenn landing gear, right? You don't learn about how it works. Now, keep in mind, the animation cycle is not exact, right? Like, obviously the leg's out of socket right there. When you actually go to deploy it when you actually go to deploy this thing, when you're using it, the landing legs don't bind. They don't do that. It stays together in one piece. This is just example animations. But yeah, there you go, dude. Hey, I learned something hilarious about SLS Block 1B. The ascent to initial orbit insertion is a combined 23-minute burn. 8 minutes on the core stage, 15 on the EUS. Isn't that nuts in the fun way? It's a very high energy insertion, dude. Very high energy. They're asking a lot out of that core stage. Vulcan, that's like a direct to MEO insertion that kind of mimics like an Ariane 6 trajectory, but final insertion altitude is like 10,000 miles or something. I mean, I think it's cool. It's definitely a righteous burn. That's asking a lot of C3 out of your first stage and a lot of Delta V out of your second stage. So once again, that'll probably end up working somewhat like Ariane 6 with their upper stage, where it like kind of crested an apogee and then came down and circularized at a lower altitude than 4-stage apogee insertion, right? Like, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. You're asking a ton of that core stage, which is awesome. I mean, if the performance is there, do it. Vulcan, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not really happy with NASA right now. I'm not happy with it. Yeah, I don't really want to. I mean, it's cool. Don't get me wrong. To complete another utter mismanagement of Eclipse is insane, dude. Yeah, no, we're on the same page there. The thing is, dude, if Clips is like this, what other programs are like this? It's been nothing but this behavior the last 3 to 4 years, man. Oh, we can't launch. We have to delay Artemis 2 by a year because our life support systems aren't passing acceptance testing. Oh, we have to cancel Viper because it's a little bit behind and it might screw up other missions down the road, despite it being an incrementally huge step in the commercial lunar payload services program. And to even sit there and insinuate for a second that Prime 1 is a replacement is... how do we know this isn't happening? Agency-wide. You know, Chandra, Viper... delaying Artemis 2. I'm noticing a pattern here, and honestly, Viper was the last straw. Dude, I am mad. Like, you can ask Chad. I got a fire lit under my tail. I'm pretty pissed off. Oh, we got to cancel OSM-1 even though the satellite is done. Dude, I can't help but notice it, Phil. There's a pattern emerging here, and I'm sorry. There's no accountability here. There's no accountability. This is just a recurring thing. And you know what? If we sit there and say, well, it's okay, we are suckers for letting them do this to us over and over again. Save your anger for the Flame Trench. I'm not going to be on Flame Trench tomorrow, William, because I'm going to a car race tomorrow night, the New England 900. So, believe me, I would let loose. I would let loose on the Flame Trench. This is unacceptable behavior. It's been like this for the longest time, dude. So Mars sample return. Mars, dude, the list goes on and on. MSR. We're requiring a complete rebaseline. The EVMU, the EVA suits. When is this going to stop? I'm getting really sick of it. And I hate it, dude. It's look, I'm only going to take so much of this crap before I start calling it out. Like, I usually give NASA the benefit of the doubt. I feel I've been very good on this. It all comes down to funding. 1/2 of 1% is not enough. I don't think it's funding, Sputnik. I think the money is there. I think that the lack of a long-term goal for NASA makes programs easier to just axe. There's no accountability. But if you make programs depend on each other, it's harder to get rid of it.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Chandra, you know, Viper, OSAM-1, the EVA suits, they're all competing for cash instead of working together to get more. That's the problem. And no one can... The problem is that you have different NASA design centers competing with each other when they should be working with each other because NASA needs a unified goal. The lack of accountability and the lack of a unified goal goes right to the top. That's why I want to know who made this decision to cancel Viper. Who was the one that had the say here? This wasn't a committee thing, because if it was a committee thing, it never would have gotten canceled. Somebody would have said something. So this was a singular decision. And I'm not going to tolerate this type of behavior as a taxpayer. I'm sorry. There needs to be accountability. And it, like, just in some alternative timeline, I'm the NASA administrator. If I screw up, if I screwed up, I would want that accountability. I would step down if I made a mistake. No, I'm not saying I can run NASA better. I'm saying I would probably screw up in the first, like, month. And somebody would be like, do the same thing. There needs to be this kind of accountability in NASA, because if there isn't, nothing is ever going to get done. That was the problem with the old Soviet space program and the design bureaus. Yep. You know that scene in Ford versus Ferrari where Shelby tells Ford you can't win races by committee? That's NASA right now, and they need a Shelby to keep everybody focused and in line. Zeros, I have no confidence in any leadership at NASA being able to do that at this point in time. The money is there, guys. NASA gets $26 billion a year. Could you make the argument that they could need more money? I would make that argument too, absolutely. What are you trying to do? If the goals required that much money, I would argue that. But I would argue that NASA's budget entirely depends on what they're trying to do. If we had a unified goal like the Apollo program, that would call for increased funding. But if you increase the funding right now, all that would do is just have these design centers, all these committees and subcommittees on NASA just argue over the money even more. Increasing the budget without a plan, just because all these programs need more money. Doing that will cause more infighting, not less. There needs to be a unified goal. Sorry, there just has to. Yes, Christian, we paid $450 million for NASA to land a block of metal on the moon, which is what's going to happen if nobody pays for the remaining cost of Viper. Look, dude, they squish, they throw money at the SLS program like candy. And don't get me wrong, they should. The reason why SLS ended up being so expensive is because they didn't fund it properly in the beginning. They didn't give it the money it needed because they were asking for too much with too little. This behavior keeps happening. Same thing with the HLS program. Same thing. Same thing with the EVA suits, right? You know, they're willing to throw money at that, but you're not willing to throw money at a potentially scientific groundbreaking mission that could be a precursor mission. That's a precursor mission for your human space flight. You're throwing all that cash at SLS, and this is a mission that will arguably increase demand for SLS based off of your scientific findings. You're going to cancel it because money. When the rover is built, the rover is manufactured, it just needs to complete an environmental test. It's one test away from being good to go. I'm sorry, that's piss poor management. Piss poor management. Dude, I don't want to talk about space today, guys. I'm sorry. I'm getting too wound up. Can we do something else? I'm getting too wound up. My meal ticket is being able to keep my cool. I don't like losing my cool. I don't like raising my voice. I only do it when it's absolutely warranted. And this is just getting it. I think talking about it more will make it better. It's not making it better. It's making it worse. We're not beating a dead horse at this point, no, but the reason why I'm forcing myself to talk about it is so more people know, because this incompetency needs to be highlighted. I'm making it a point to mention it all the time when somebody asks, even though it's killing me to do it. This behavior needs to be shown in public and needs to be judged in the court of public opinion, because it is absolutely incompetent behavior. No one as a taxpayer should tolerate this. We'll pick up Kerbal more next week, and I'm a little cooled off. I'm just, guys, do you mind if I jump into some workers or something? I need to get my mind off of it, dude. And I know, like, fellas, I know I'm being super dramatic. Spaceflight is super important to me, man. Think there's any worth to submitting a Freedom of Information Act request to Ames to get minutes from meetings where Viper was discussed? Maybe. Why is there a dinosaur floating in that video? Pigeon, that was during the demo mission 2. That was the first crewed flight for Dragon back in May of 2020. And they have what's called a zero-G indicator. The zero-G indicator is usually a small plushie or a stuffed animal. That one is called Trevor the Apatosaurus. Bob Benkin, this guy right here, the pilot for DM2, brought that up because that's his kid loves dinosaurs. So he brought up an Apatosaurus as, as their zero-G indicator, right? Because it'll start floating around when you're in space, right? And as a tribute to his family, which I really appreciate and respect. That's pretty cool. Yeah, JDG, yeah, it's the same stuff you've already heard. But if they actually land a mass simulator chunk of metal instead of a rover, I'm going to lose it. 415, it's incompetent behavior. Dude. I followed this type of behavior through Constellation program cancellation, and then through the early days of SLS. And then things started to get better when Jim Bridenstine was there, because NASA had a unified goal, something they could rally around, that 2024 date, right? And what did we see? We saw stuff getting finished. And basically, post-pandemic, it's just gotten worse and worse. Like, how many times have we sat here and said, oh, another thing's getting canceled? Chandra, OSAM, the EVA suit commercialization, Mars sample return, and now Viper. Artemis 1 getting delayed because the life support systems don't work. Or Artemis 2 getting delayed. Look, I'm sorry. There's only so much you can blame on the pandemic and supply lines. I'm sorry. Look, 3 is a pattern. We're at 5. And I usually give NASA the benefit of the doubt because I understand it's hard to get things done. This is getting ridiculous. And I'm not trying to be overly dramatic. I have no faith in NASA being able to do anything right now. Sorry. Any goodwill that I had is gone. Viper was the last straw. What was the flight suit thing? Space Brew, NASA was working on an EVA suit, a lunar space suit to go around and look around on the surface of the moon. They had been working on it. They started it they basically restarted the XEMU program in 2019, I think. And NASA was working on making a Artemis lunar spacesuit. NASA promptly canceled that program a little bit earlier this year and replaced it with a commercial program. Yeah, they said, no, the funding isn't there. You know, there's technical challenges. We'll just let the commercial market do it. And they gave a contract to, who did they give a contract to? Collins Aerospace to manufacture new spacesuits. Collins pulled out of that contract 2 months ago. And they also have Axiom as well. Yeah, Axiom Aerospace. And once again, like, here's the problem. You're developing something. Developing something on a fixed price is something that's extremely hard. That's an extremely difficult thing to do, to develop something that hasn't been done before on a time scale. If you're going to do that, the funding needs to go through the roof, and it needs to be funded properly. That's where cost plus makes sense, as long as you have a time-sensitive deadline. Cost plus only works if there's a deadline by this. A deadline by a certain point, or else there's no incentive for a cost plus contract to get done on any reasonable time, and they'll just keep milking the contract. With that being said, the commercial spacesuit, the commercial Artemis EVA spacesuits are on a fixed price program. So, okay, if cost plus contracts are used to get stuff done quick, well, we have a moon landing scheduled for 2026 at this point. That's 2 years is not a lot of time to make a spacesuit. Not even Apollo did the A7L that fast, and that was with a blank check. You're telling me that some company that has a couple of missions experience in low Earth orbit is going to be able to make a suit to explore a celestial body that no one has explored in 50 years. And they're supposed to do it faster than the Apollo program. Okay. Sure. Okay. Sure. Collins Aerospace backed out of the contract, most likely because they said we will not be able to deliver this, and we're not going to be made a fool when, you know, you ask for this spacesuit and it's not done. That's my guess. That's a guess. I don't know. What would you say you do here? Yeah, Rib. No, I got it. Yeah, office space. Really? That at this point. Yeah, Ace, I really don't have much confidence at this point. I was willing to give the benefit of the doubt until yesterday. JDG, I know how you need to get back to some Zen. Go out in your garage. Yeah. Now, the funny thing is, we're talking about EVA suits. SpaceX posted their EVA suits for Polaris Dawn, which is pretty cool. They're actually super trick. Wasn't Collins like half done with the suits though? Something like that. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna switch to workers. I apologize for being so angry about this. It's Let me change it. How's the truck? All 3 of the trucks on my property are working just fine now. They do need some stuff buttoned up here and there, Will, but everything is working fine. Yeah, the Camaro's crossmember. I'm actually making some pretty damn good progress, but I don't think I have the shot set up. I got to install the rest of the suspension on that. The Curiosity rover found sulfur. Yep, it found sulfur. Yeah, it found sulfur on the surface of Mars, which is actually super cool. Hey, Sparrowhawk, lurking while I bring your wife to work so that cost you up money and get you some ad pennies. Thanks, man. Issues with the things that are near and dear to our heart cause us the most stress. Yeah, Game, you're not wrong. It doesn't manifest as stress to me. It manifests as anger. I'm very mad. I'm holding back pretty hard right now. Like, really, really, really trying hard to not burn any bridges here. Really trying hard not to burn. Okay, let's figure out what we need here. Oh yeah, we started working on the refinery. I started building the refinery, and I told my construction companies to use these stockpiled resources to build it. We already made the investment in doing that. The oil price did start to go back up, dudes, which is good. Yeah, it's now hovering around 50. It is trending upwards, which is great. It spiked for a second, and that gave me a little bit of debt relief, but it overall is trending in the right direction. I wish that spike lasted just a smidge longer. But even at this point right now, we're still profitable. The problem that I'm looking at here is that I'm draining my oil reserves. I'm draining my oil reserves hard. I am making profit, and we do have a better unit price for oil, but also at the same time, I'm not going to be able to keep delivering at this rate with all the trucks that I have grabbing all this oil. Good space news. Happy National Hot Dog Day. Did you know that the Apollo 11 astronauts bought Not doing it. I'm 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 not saying it. I'm not saying it. The hell with you guys. I'm not saying it. The hell with that. I'm playing for chubs. I'm not doing it, man. I am not doing this. All right? You guys remember when NASA was well respected for actually accomplishing their goals? You guys remember that? Nope, now we post about hot dogs. So we got that new flat built that's actually full of workers, which is actually super cool. But we are... Tell us about the hot dogs you're bringing to the moon on Artemis 2 and 3. Well, we intend to do that. We intend. Unemployment is too high. Alright, I gotta change the block signals to be directional. That will help. They'll cancel the hot dogs and send the buns up with a meat simulator. Dude, what a joke. What a joke. Like, as I keep talking about it, I'm just gonna get so mad, dude. I'm so freaking enraged here. So freaking enraged. I'm the victim over here, you know? Stop. No, yeah, but it's all right. It's all right. Honestly, they deserve. NASA deserves to be made fun of at this point. Like, dude, it kills me to say it. It kills me to say that, but it's the truth. Yes. Fill that train car up, baby. Yeah, baby. We started building out the police, courthouse, and prison here, which is good. I'm gonna go ahead and think that we probably need a localized distribution office. I think the food and stuff is being distributed down here. Wait, what? Also no distribution, cement mixer, gravel quarry, repair station, railway construction, gas station, water treatment, gas station. What distro? Hold on. It's that one. Okay. What happens if Elon buys NASA for 44 billion? I'm pretty sure you can't buy a government entity. However, Angry Snake, he could buy the Viper rover. Yeah. The building is on fire. All right, we're gonna need a distro office here for How was KSP? Did you start anything new? I showed how to land a booster monoprop, and I hate that this flustered me, dude. I hate admitting this. I'm sorry, I ain't perfect. The stuff that NASA did came up again, and it just, I don't really want to talk about space right now. It's like I said, just because I don't think I can keep my cool talking about this anymore, and if I can't keep my cool about a conversation that I want to have on the stream, I don't deserve to have said conversation. That's my, like, one of my golden rules for streaming. Don't get angry. So, what did I get done in KSP? Nothing. We'll play more KSP next week when I'm a little cooled off, so to speak. Like I said, I absolutely hate that I let that get the better of me, especially on stream. But yeah, I'm sorry. I know I said I would play KSP today, but I'm just... Fancy looking modern city. Thanks, man. I need to get my mind off spaceflight right now, because it's just off. And like I said, if I can't sit here and discuss it professionally, or at least semi-professionally, well, keeping my cool, and I don't deserve to discuss it. I don't need DJ calling me at 3 a.m. again crying. Shut up. Get a fetch cam and I'll watch that too. You're being reasonable considering the circumstances. People deserve to grieve. Don't blame me though. I like things that go brr. Yeah, me too. Would it be okay if we listen to the RimWorld soundtrack? Yeah, sure, man. Yeah, we can. If you want to. Jim, rewind about 5 minutes in the bot. I just got finished giving that explanation. Chat would never run a space agency into the ground. Yeah. Yeah, I know, right? That'll never happen. Yeah, see, our unemployment was at 11, and now it's at 4. I worked on the pathing logic for the block signaling. I decided to make these one-ways. There's too many trains, between the 2 passenger trains and the building, the track building, we needed the one-way to get the right flow logic here. Now, keep in mind, in this area, I made it so you could switch tracks if you need to. And then on the other side of the station, it goes back to being one-way pathing logic. Yeah, I made them one-way, Mishu. Our unemployment when I reloaded the game a second ago was at 11%. And the trains were headed up against each other. Gene therapy. And now it seems to be working. Yeah, adding 200 people. Yeah, see? Now the unemployment is down, which is great. But it seems to be that some people that are commuting to the train station seem to be in resonance with the trains, meaning that there's a point where one train is leaving and the other train's at the other station, and the time it takes for the train to get back exceeds the wait time. The people only have a finite amount of time waiting on the platform. They'll only wait on the platform for an hour, or an hour in game. We actually might need another train to keep a constant flow of workers to lower that unemployment even more. The other thing is that this is for construction. That bus stop right there is designed for this labor yard to pick up, and a lot of people are going there, and they're obviously not finding a job. Quick question. I'm diving into realism mode now. Yeah, Grabshark, you asked the question earlier. I'm sorry, man. I missed it. I'm diving into realism mode now after playing on easy mode to learn the basics. I see all the free variants of some of the basic buildings you need, and as far as I can get as far as importing some gravel from customs, getting a gas station up and running, etc. Not sure how to build roads with the gravel though. You need a construction office and you need the proper equipment to move the materials from the construction office around. So build out the construction office. Obviously you're gonna need a dump truck to move the gravel around, and you need a bulldozer to grade the road. So build a construction depot right here, use the free one, buy a dump truck and buy a bulldozer. And then here on said construction depot, you have this menu right here. It'll tell them where to get resources from. Click gravel, click specify, and then click on your gravel pit. And they'll only pull gravel from there. I'm gonna do it. I'm buying another locomotive. Comrade, give progress update. I am fixing trains to work better, friend. Don't worry. I gotta wait till that locomotive gets over there. Bulldozer to grade the road, dump truck for the gravel, set the gravel pit to the construction office, and then make sure your construction office down here, you can assign a contractor to the project. I do not use the auto search, GraphShark, because if you have a depot that doesn't have any dump trucks, it could auto assign it, and the other depot won't auto assign because it said, oh, this depot already has it. I like manually assigning it. However, you can group construction depots together. You can do it over here. By clicking the Assign Construction Office tool and setting it to a quick selection, you can group them together to work as one. That's what I do. However, on top of that, I keep my labor for these construction projects in a separate construction office that's not bound. The idea is that I move the materials first to the construction site and then send the people later when all the materials are on site. It's just a little bit of an easier way to manage your project, to manage your projects. You're wrong with that. Okay. The auto search is really well implemented now. They may have made changes in 1.0. I haven't tested the changes personally, so if I haven't tested them personally, I can't speak to them. I like doing it this way. So, I mean, GraphShark, if you want to test with the auto search, do it. But that's the way I have all my construction depots set up right now. I don't like assigning them a construction project. I like doing it manually because I like having that granular control. Bob Newhart died. Who's that? I don't know who that is. $58 Razor. Thanks for the 5-month resub. I appreciate it, buddy. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've seen this guy before. Cool. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on! If it burns down while the fire trucks are fighting the fire, you lose the fire trucks. I tried reassigning there. Oh, no way. That's set 100%, dude. There's no freaking way that just happened. Yeah, but the wear and tear, I'm gonna have to reconstruct it anyway, but at least I didn't lose my damn fire trucks, you know? Nah, Mishu, I don't think... Yeah, see, it's only going up. It's only going up. I think we're alright. Yeah, fire can damage buildings. If you let it burn for a longer period of time, the wear and tear on the building goes up and it needs to be renovated. I'd say we are not bad. That's not bad considering. I only lost 3 or 4 houses. I lost my electrical station, though. It's lovely. gotta be kidding me. They actually fixed it. All right, well, we gotta make sure that we reassign them to the fire station. Good job, guys. A glimmer of hope. Some actual good news today. Rocket tank questioner. Cryogenic tanks on rockets, single skin or double? Single with single. Yeah. Fire station in the city now? That might not be the worst decision. Just a heads up again, EJ, you'll need to start thinking about crime-related buildings soon. Yeah, I know. I have a police station, courthouse, and a prison ready to go. We just gotta... They're getting a little hung up on constructing the paths to them because my dump trucks are being used over here, I think it was, to pave. They're being used for asphalt, I think. Yeah, I have a paved road all the way to Kasask here, which is good. We have a highway going all the way over there. I'm not 100% sure what they're doing, to be honest with you. No. Hey, don't worry about it. It's all good, buddy. Alright. The other thing is that we can attach that car to that train. We can delete the stops from it. We can... This should hopefully bring our unemployment rate down enough. Gotta keep that unemployment down. I'm pretty sure adding another train is the right move. You just gotta wait for the track builder train to get out of there. Add another signal in the middle. A chain? You want me to put a chain signal in the middle? Yeah, that's a good idea. Because of that, Nick, you saw what you saw. Don't forget that Apollo in real time has the Apollo 11 mission being replayed as it's happening in 69. Pretty in-depth with comms and info. We watched that, Jared, 5 years ago. It's pretty awesome, dude. And we do have our clothes export up and running, which is good. Alright, let's go check on refinery and city progress over at Harley, Algalin. Hey, Wirelord, pleasure to see you. Greetings, comrade. Or please to the other area, to Algalin. I don't think Algalin is big enough to necessarily require it, but I could be wrong. Wanted to share some big news. You're buying your first house in real life. Congratulations, Wire. I remember when I did that. It's a pretty awesome feeling. And don't worry if you feel like you don't deserve it. Yeah, that happens. It goes away after the first like month. Because when Brimo and I bought this house and I have the garage, dude, like I have everything I've ever wanted. My only regret is not having a bigger garage. Yeah, dude, every day walking back to my office in the garage puts a smile on my face, dude. It's pretty awesome, dude. My only regret is not having bonitis. I think actually a good place to test out if the demolition offices are working how I think they're going to work would be to, or test if the auto search works how I think. Yeah, just have it auto search for that. I'll assign these two. I'll see if it auto searches the best. It's been a process. It's funny because I'm not making this up. The garage is nearly twice as big as the house, and that's where I plan to have mine and my girlfriend's gaming setups. Well, the loft area above the garage. My garage is about as big as my house. Yeah, mine is too, dude. Yeah. I'm not sorry. Alright, so let's start getting utilities up. They're saying it needs to be doubled. Yep. That's right. Previous owner must have ran a small shop. The guy who I bought the house from, Wire Lord, without saying too much, like I don't need to know who he is. Yeah, he was a tradesman. So he built the shop to do trades in. So yeah. He's a contractor. Why so many power switches? These aren't just power switches, Sea Kraken. They're plumbing, drainage, and an electrical substation spaced evenly to basically blanket this entire area with plumbing, drainage, and electricity. Because if you look, I have the steps here. So we have the roads. The roads are every 500 feet. And this is where I'm going to expand Algalin this way to put in some big flats, bus stations, maybe even a tram line going back and forth. Why is this music familiar? 404, this is RimWorld. Need room for a mill, lathe, surface grinder, 2 and 4 post lifts. Hellfish, what I was thinking about doing is taking the shelves. So like I have some stacked shelves against the back of the garage, but Yeah, honestly, all those shelves are doing is just holding up a bunch of crap that when I moved in, I just was like, okay, this needs to go here. So what I would like to do is actually maybe move those workbenches to the back of the garage and put cabinets in like a designated spot for a toolbox back there. And like a designated spot for the streaming setup toolbox as well. Just find a home for it at the back of the garage, so I have room on either side for machine equipment. That's what I was thinking. Either that or take all the workbenches and take all the shelving out and replace it with a replace it with like workshop cabinets. It's gonna be costly, but this is just a random site that I pulled the picture from, but something like that. I think that would be a more efficient use of space. And once again, I don't know this site. I just clicked on the picture. You know, this would be better for the streaming setup, you know, because I don't need to mount the computers on the toolbox necessarily. I can find a good home for them. You know, it'll actually help with wiring and stuff, so I won't need to wire something like out from the office to the side of the garage. Having it back up against the back wall also gives me more space sideways. We could put machine tools in it, like a lathe and a press would be good. Like a Bridgeport lathe and a Bridgeport mill would be fantastic. And then if I don't put anything on the sides, we might even be able to put two post lifts in next to each other. There's almost enough room to do it. That's what I would want to do, but that's a whole project in itself. But if I had two post lifts, kind of, instead of like being next to each other, you kind of cant them out a little bit. Like if this is the back of the garage, right? I could put 2 cars in, put them up on the lifts, and drive 2 more cars underneath. No need for garage expansion. I mean, not that I'd do that. I'd probably do that to like store cars during the winter, or at least keep one rack open and use the other one for storage. But either way, that gives me a lot more vertical space to store another vehicle. Free oil drips on the roof of the bottom cars. I mean, if you're gonna be a jerk about it, William, yeah, sure, man. You shag off. A tube bender? We could put a pipe bender in for making an exhaust. That's what I need. I need a vertical belt sander for deburring pipes and stuff. That would be super useful. That was my big problem with welding the exhaust. One of the big problems. I mean, the other problem is that I suck at welding. That was one of the big problems with making the exhaust for the 97. I had to manually file all the burrs off, and I couldn't ever get a perfectly straight cut. So like a vertical belt sander would be great for deburring, and a bandsaw would be good for cutting. Yeah, bandsaw, that's the word I'm looking for. What about Brimo's Kitchen? Brimo's Kitchen is probably going to happen before any of that stuff happens, dude. That would be like the ideal scenario. The lathes and stuff would be the hard part. You don't suck at welding, you're learning how to weld, there's a difference. Yeah, Jojo, you're not wrong. Thanks, man. Where the hell are all my dump trucks? What are they doing? Do we not have gravel? Why Why isn't the gravel being delivered? Oh no. I assigned the wrong construction depot. That's lovely. I weld stainless steel exhaust all day long for Cummins. Nice, Geo. Welding stainless is difficult. I'm just messing with just regular steel and MIG welding. I haven't even tried TIG. Dude, my big thing with welding that damn exhaust was keeping the, like, you're welding on a curved surface, was keeping the pool straight. Like, I don't have the sleight of hand yet to be able to go, like, around the corner like that. Not yet, at least. And I'm not, like, don't get me wrong. I know what I need to do. You know, controlling the pool, controlling the gap. You know, making sure you basically, you know, do twisty motions or, like, loop-de-loops here to get the pool to go where you want it to go. But yeah, doing that, like, around the curvature of the pipe is hard, man. But yeah, it's cool, man. I do like welding. Welding is super fun. I'm currently planning on making an oil waste burning my shop warm in the winter. There you go. Using an old fireplace with a few modifications. Cool. Take an older electric motor and make what we call a sidewinder. You take the end of the tube and secure it to the motor, and it turns the pipe for you, and then you can stay steady with your hands easier. It's awesome to see how far you've come in your knowledge of this game. Glad to see you still enjoy it after months of playing. Dogs, yeah, workers is fun. Yeah, basically a turntable. At that point, dude, why don't I make a jig for the welding gun to oscillate back and forth? You just start the electric motor and start the oscillator and just have it do it for you. That'd be kind of cool. Two turntables and a microphone. where it's at, dude. We got a little bit of a traffic jam there. That guy has to clear that block, and then that train going. Depending on the thickness, the weaving doesn't help. Yeah, it doesn't help you any, but if you do it right, it looks nice. Yeah, Gio, that's how they weld. That's how they weld rockets together, dude. They use a jig and just, you know, it's actually super cool. Thought about that. I think that'd be really cool. Using machine tools to make perfect welds, but I think it'd be better for me to learn how to do it by hand first. Yeah. Actually, yeah, super cool. Relativity Aerospace, Geo, they don't even weld two things together. They have basically a MIG welder, right? And they have a turntable, like similar to a 5-axis lathe, and they just lay the bead, right? And they lay the bead out, and it looks like someone's sculpting a clay pot. And they make the tanks out of welding bead, which is nuts. It's actually super cool. Yeah, they 3D print them, yeah, that way, which is pretty awesome. How's the money situation going? Oh, really bad. Yeah, really bad. We're hemorrhaging cash. Yeah, it's going awful. That earthquake was not good. Alkaline is basically being vacated because that earthquake. We are building the refinery, which and I'm already taking the imported steel. Great. These resources right here I'm going to use to build the rest of the city. Just hope there's enough population left to keep the city alive. Damn, and clothes are shipping. Yeah, let's see. Export for this month. We've exported $7 grand worth of clothes, which is actually pretty damn cool. Most of them are materials only 16 to 12 gauge, other than a few heavy duty tubes, and so they basically 3D print the parts with a welder then. Yeah. I already bought something like that. All systems. It'll be here on Tuesday. What's the current debt load? 1.5 on the dollar and 2.8 on the ruble. The 2.0 on the ruble, it's not good. Thank you. Wilburud got its all the buildings made, which is nice. So let's start telling them to build out the water systems here. And they should have the road paved all the way. Coal mine should be. Good stuff. This is much more detailed than cities. Yeah, Wirelord, this ruined others. Workers and resources ruined other city builders for me, dude. You have to allocate everything right down to the materials to build the road. It's not just click and drag and build the road. It's... Yeah, you have to control... Yeah, you have, like, basically ground-up control of everything. Awesome. It's... This game's fantastic. Like, see the highway I needed to build? I built the highway, just like I would in cities. But building the highway here, I need asphalt, you need gravel, you need paving equipment, you need dump trucks to move asphalt and gravel around. If I want to grade the road, I need bulldozers to grade everything. You can't terraform in this game unless a bulldozer is in range. So like, let's go out here in the middle of nowhere, right? If I wanted to start messing with the terrain out here, won't let you. Gotta have a bulldozer in range, and that bulldozer has to have fuel. If the bulldozer doesn't have any fuel, won't do anything. Yeah, every production chain works like that, dude. It's excellent. Super, super cool. Yeah, McDursey, you can move all the way up to nuclear, yeah, but you have to... So the nuclear tech tree in this game, you need uranium ore, and the uranium ore needs to be refined into uranium oxide. From uranium oxide, you can make, you have to make uranium hexafluoride, and then you have to enrich uranium hexafluoride. And once you enrich hexafluoride, then you get nuclear fuel for your nuclear reactor. Yeah, the tech trees in this game are amazing, dude. So good. Reminds me of the mechanism mod in Minecraft. You need to process fission there too. Yep. The crazy thing is that, dude, you don't even need to get into nuclear fuel. There's a global market here, and you have to pay attention to the market because prices fluctuate. Prices go up and down with supply and demand. If I flood the market with too much oil, price will go down. You have to, now keep in mind, to do that, you have to export an insane amount of oil. But you have global markets, and you have to watch the prices. So like, look, uranium hexafluoride is trading. You can buy it for $7,300 a ton and sell it for $66.80 on the ruble. And you buy it for $7,300 on the dollar, you could sell it for $6,600 on the ruble. So buying UF6 is not cost effective compared to the selling price. But if you have uranium ore and uranium oxide, you can buy that, and you could make a killing just making UF6 and then exporting that everywhere. I have to be careful of the oil markets because that's primarily what I'm invested in. Right here, we were making money hand over fist, and then the oil price crashed in 1964. And it's been just frankly crap ever since. It spiked there for a second, which is great, but I mean, $50 per ton for crude is not bad, but it is enough to hamper me a little bit. There's two currencies in game. Wire, you can trade with NATO or you can trade with the Warsaw Pact. It depends on which border you're near. Your republic has the footprint is a square, just like cities, right? But there's Warsaw Pact over here, like where the red star is, and then you can trade with NATO as well. See? There's two currencies in this game. Right now, I have oil being sent to NATO here. That's been my primary avenue of revenue for this. What I'm trying to do here is expand Algalin right here so we can support personnel for the refinery and the power plant, so I can export power. But something is killing me on the investment. Something is killing me for imports. I would need to see what we're importing on the dollar because that's a lot of money. It's the steel imports for the distro here. That's what's killing me. importing. I'm trying to maintain a constant amount of steel here. I told them to keep filling this up until it gets to a certain level. And they keep replenishing it because I'm using steel over here. That's... You probably should not do that way. That's bankrupting me. So I need to go to the Garawi small distro office here and just shut off the bulk storage for now. Then we shouldn't be footing an $85,000 a month bill, and hopefully we can start making some money. 6 minutes ago. The map's huge. Is it like a random map with random starting locations? It's a this is not just a city builder, Wirelord. It's a republic builder. You have to build. You have a lot of places to. You got to build out. You could pretty much start wherever you want. You have to kind of start near a border, though. At least that's what I would recommend. You have to build a small country. Yep. It's awesome, dude. Yeah, this game is awesome. Yeah, awesome. Workers is the real deal, man. Yeah, you want to build railroad tracks? You need a track builder. Track builder, railway construction office, and then you got you need personnel. You don't have personnel. All right. Reconstruction on the building is almost done. Good. Oh yeah, for sure. When you're stigmatism. Nice, dude. How much population dipped due to the mall fire? Not a lot, Jack. Some people did unfortunately pass away in some of the building fires because I didn't extinguish them fast enough. But yeah, it's okay. I'm just telling my demo offices to get rid of all these footpaths. These are going to old construction. These are buildings that I cleared out to make space for municipal buildings. Too many people in this city were working at the school, the kindergarten and stuff. We were way over budgeted for education. I need more bodies to get to be at the bus station so they can run the power plant. Weird analog, but I've been playing a ton of modded Minecraft on a server I host for friends, and I've been working on similar things like laying pathways for trains and roads using Create. Yeah, cool stuff, man. To move my resources around the map, I've combined all of my old Minecraft worlds together so I have large travel distances between bases, and I'm planning to generate power with a reactor. Yeah, that's kind of the same itch, dude. It's kind of scratching the same itch. Absolutely. It's cool, man. It's good stuff. Come on, start up that R series. Now he's gonna bring fuel to the gas station. The building is reconstructed, which is good. And yeah, we should start seeing more people at the bus station because I funded all these places correctly. $8,500 work days. It's gonna take a little while to get that finally built, but hopefully we have a city to build up by then. Power plant does make cash, King, but we need personnel in it. It needs to really be at, like, if there's anything but, like, if there's anything under 10 people here, the power production sucks. It's absolutely poop. That's why I trimmed the jobs in Algalin, because we had too many teachers and not enough people working in the power plant, so I, you know, cut jobs from education because it was overfunded, and now people are showing up at the bus stop. And the bus stop has these blue Volvos, and those blue Volvos go to the power plant. But yeah, we do make some money on it, but we're not making a lot right now because it's going to take a second for that labor problem to solve itself. Are you sure you're exporting power? You have to set it at the border. Oh, we cut the line. Oh no, that's right, I cut the line to... I cut the line to make an extension here. Damn it. Don't buy this. Freaking go away. Freaking. Yeah, I cut the import line. I'm an idiot. I did that way on purpose to leave 2 lines open going this way if I need more places to have power inside of this city. Building is on fire. Oh, crap. I don't think I have a closer fire station. That's good. Yeah, of course, it's the one at the very back. I forgot to make one. We really do need a fire station. Well, that's gonna burn down. So that's good. Need labor for fire. I do have it, and it looks like it did dispatch the fire trucks, but there ain't no way they're gonna get there in time. Especially not with the dirt roads all the way back there. I was planning on building a fire station right here, so we could have a fire station that's halfway between the field and halfway between the city that I was gonna build here, but... yeah, scaling in this game is hard. Very difficult. You have too many criminals. I'm working on solving that problem by implementing, by putting a police station over here. And actually, we should be good to go to start. We should be good to go to start construction on those projects. It looks like they're working on finishing my power line extension first, which is fine. Gotta put street lights up there, and then we start the police station. But it's not just the police station in this game. You have to have a justice system. So you need a police station, you need a courthouse, and you need a prison. Put the prison over here, and I put it inside of a really tall concrete wall, so it looks like a prison. You can just place the prison in the middle of the city if you want. We got plenty of labor here to get this stuff done, which is good. Yeah, the track builder's in the block. What was I doing? I was doing something over here. Oh yeah, the signals. Same shopping center. On fire again. I'm not sure we're gonna get lucky. That's maybe. Go to that first, please. They're not. They put out the... Well, this city's screwed. No food. No more food. Yeah, and I lost the fire truck just now. Grocery kiosk is what we're gonna have to do, dude. I don't really have a choice. You're God in this game, can't you prevent earthquakes? Yeah, apparently not. Making money. It's good. Making money, actually, we're green. Not bad. This isn't the worst problem to have. It's just these people are going to starve. They don't get everything that they need. If they starve, they either die, or they, well, you know, they leave. They run away. Alert, it is now 5 p.m. Right. Hey, it's just not my day, dudes. Not my day. You know, it's kind of ridiculous, dude. You think with my job, like, you're not gonna have a bad day. I have bad days. Yeah, just like everybody else. Alert. Wait, Ernog, were you? Is that the Minutemen radio? Alert. It's now 5 p.m. I swear it knows, Chrome. The game knows. The game knows. It like there's some script in here that looks at buildings that have like more citizen interactions and it just sets those buildings on fire. Or it's capitalist sabotage. crime. There's not bad crime over here. It's the bad part. That's weird. These were prefabbed. I copied them. I blueprinted these buildings, and yeah, it looks like it didn't like it. When you copied the prefab, it didn't take very well. That's okay. But it took well on the original one that I copied, which is... But hey, whatever. At least it's working. What mod is that? I don't recognize. What do you mean? I'm playing the vanilla version of the game, Raph. I don't got build your own stuff down to the gates. It might be a DLC, dude. It's possible. I'm not sure off the top of my head. This is a DLC map, which sure. The desert biome is part of the biomes DLC that came out when 1.0 came out. Hakta! Nice. Nice. And is the DLC maps worth it? I would say, yeah. I mean, the desert, tropical, and Siberian maps are pretty cool. I'd say only get them really if you've played the like temperate climates that are in the stock game, dude. These maps are for if you need an added challenge. They're like, okay, so for instance, one thing that makes the desert easier, you don't need heating plants. Believe me, there's enough heat. But what you do need is infrastructure. Everything in the desert is spread out. It's spread out and the terrain blows. It's really hard to connect anything together. So, you know, because everything's spread out, you have to be very careful about where you spend and what you build. That's why a lot of them, like, I'm building out these highways over long distances here. See them right here? I'm building out highways because that's what you need to move people around. It's really, really important. Yeah, chat requested it, all systems. Even in the base game, people should use highways, but there's a, yeah, of course, but there's a huge emphasis on it here as well. You're not going to get very far without them. That's what I'm trying to say. It did the same thing. No officers in the path. You only need to connect it on one side. Hey, Achkill, what's going on? You can farm only on these greenish patches. That's right. It's not me. Next time you play RimWorld, you should put on the Soviet. You should put on the Workers and Resources music. Yeah, that's pretty funny. Good idea. Dude, sometimes I just love watching the work. I love watching the work get happen. It's so freaking cool. You know? See, I have plumbing, water and drainage right next to each other, and they'll run with electrical lines when I have the electrical substation figured out. I'll run my electrical on the other side of the street. Probably be a good idea to keep electrical and, you know, liquids away from each other. That's the case in real life, guys. You don't put electrical conduits near waste systems. Like, you don't put them near the drainage or the plumbing or the water either. But usually, I mean, it really depends, but you ideally want to keep these things apart from each other. Which is odd because I have my substations right next to my septic tanks in this design, but this is a good way to keep everything organized. When you do get into mods, start with cars. More traffic builds more variety. Not a bad idea, man. Yeah, you can work in 3 dimensions, all systems. You could do it that way as well. Hey, we're making money. We have high quality living unlocked. Excellent. That's huge. Real good. Yeah, we got a lot of good stuff unlocked here. We'll probably get party member ranking. Or we could do tourism. Tourism might be a good way to make some money. This place is... Nadir is prime for a hotel, actually. Please do fire prevention. Oh, an epidemic. Lovely. Save more money. Recommend slowly start doing solar and wind plus dams. Oh, can you do dams in this game? I mean, I'm going up the solar tree because on the desert map, Raph, I figured, what's the harm? What is it gonna do? It's always sunny, and it ain't Philadelphia either. Crap. Solar might be good after you already have a decent profit, but it's not a stable source of income. Have you tested it on the desert map specifically, Nishi? Honest question. I mean, that's the whole reason why I did it. I know it's useless, like, it's supplemental at best on other maps. I'm wondering if the desert map is going to give us any type of advantage. I'm doing solar and it does 8 megawatt hours. On the desert map, Ando? Yes, this exact map. The railroads. I always have an issue with building railroads in realistic mode. Any tips on how to get a track builder set to the construction office? You need to go to a big NATO border. Go in here and click on disassemble. Get an AGMU that's in pieces and have a truck pick it up and drop it off here, a flatbed. Once you drop it off there, it'll assemble it. Then you just stock this with people and resources, and the track builder will go to town. And oh, you got a picture. Nice. Cool. It's super expensive as a starting industry. Yeah, I hear you, man. I'm curious. Maybe it does. Maybe the sun shines more. Maybe it's, you know, here. Because it's desert, you know. There's got to be a benefit, right? That's the way I'm looking at it, dude. It's only the Soviet side, Raph. There's no track builders in the stock game on this side. What now? Oh. No. I'm done. I'm done for the day. Yeah. I need. I'm done for the day, guys. I'm taking tomorrow off. I'm going to the New England 900. Yeah, I'll see you guys on Monday. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. I'm sorry, I'm just not I'm not doing good today. I'll see you guys. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. I'll see y'all on Monday. I'm gonna try to recharge this weekend. But yeah, I'll see you guys on tomorrow or Monday. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good weekend.